All right, welcome to the Cyber Idiots, where we have no clue what's going on, but we're back.
Howdy, folks.
Howdy, folks.
Howdy, folks.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
Oh, man, it's been a minute. I like how we said we were going to record more, and then a month went by.
To be
Someone
fair,
decided to prioritize getting married.
Yeah.
Lame
Nerd.
excuse.
Yeah. I'm hoping this one lasts, you know.
Last one had some fallout we had to handle. Yeah.
Yeah, last time, as Alex's speech was, David's wrong a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Every time we go a month without recording, it's because one of David's weddings is fallen.
Yeah, I'm on my like 67th marriage at this point. We just keep annulling them and paying another 20 grand. God, weddings are expensive. If there was an industry for hacking wedding like companies, I'd be in it. Like, man,
Let's do it.
dude, think about it. Like, I'm not gonna call out the restaurant name because I ain't a narc and they're also not sponsoring me. So we had hit them up and we were like, hey, like, you know, this is one of our favorite restaurants. Would you guys do catering for the wedding? And they're like, yeah, we can do catering. I didn't say wedding initially. I asked if they do catering for events and whatnot. And they gave me a catering menu, and it was like, I want to say like $6-7 grand. It wasn't cheap or anything like that, right? But the moment I was like, oh yeah, I mean, this is for a wedding. Can you guys do plating? And like that 6-7 grand went up to like 15 grand. And it wasn't just from plating. It was from the fact that it was like, well, it's a wedding and we need to make sure. It's like, dude, this is the same amount of people, same amount of everything. You're just doubling the price. Like,
Yeah.
There needs to be more cybercrime on the wedding industry. There's my hot take for the month of November. But it was good.
We're taking down Wedding Wire.
Oh, you got wedding insurance? Now we're going after the insurers, dog. Hopefully you got cyber insurance. No, it was good seeing you boys, though. It's been a minute. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the first time we've all been in person since DEF CON, not this year, but the previous year.
Third.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
And that was only for like 12 minutes, and you guys wouldn't pick your heads up out of your CTF laptops.
Nope.
Oh, dude.
Nope.
Yeah, and there was.
I barely remember seeing you guys, to be honest. I was so invested in that.
Yeah, that's right. No, yeah, we were in that little back corner, just hammering away, and we had Ben and them hanging out on the other end where they're trying to figure out how to make a router from a router. They were doing some weird shit. They were trying to like host the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
That was 31, wasn't it? DEF CON 31.
What was last year? Was that not 31?
Last year was 31.
32 just, was it? 32
Yeah.
just
I
took
can't
off.
count.
Because
I'm about as good at counting as OpenAI is.
we got the badge at 30, and that was 2 years ago. So that would have been 31.
Man, time flies.
I
Time
don't know where
flies
it
quick.
goes, man. But yeah.
All right, David, how many R's are in the word strawberry?
Dude, I can't even fucking spell strawberry, so.
All right, who else? How many R's in the word strawberry?
Bobby, I saw that.
Isn't it what? Yeah. Well, now I need to type it out. Now I can actually look at it.
Why are we doing this?
No, hold on. I want to hear the
There's
definitive
3.
answer. There's 3. All right, now go to ChatGPT and ask how many R's are in the word strawberry.
All right, here we go.
I
Dude,
think it's fixed because I saw this a couple.
Is it
weeks ago.
fixed?
I think it's fixed. But we'll
Maybe
see.
it depends on which. Because I did it in Claude a couple of weeks ago, and it
I'm gonna ask
still
too.
was.
now we're all just typing. There's just going to be a whole portion of this video where it's like,
Nope,
you guys are
it's
doing
still-
nothing,
it's-
not even
it's
talking.
not
They're just typing
fixed.
into a ChatGPT. What the heck is going on?
It is
It's
not
like-
fixed.
Yeah,
How
it says
many?
2, right?
Still says 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I got distracted and I wrote, how many strawberry?
Send it. I want to know. Send it.
It says, could you clarify by what you
No.
mean? How
No,
many
answer the
strawberry?
question.
No, answer the question. All right, if we're going literal, how many strawberries could depend on context, like weight, size, or container. In a pint, about 12 to 15 medium strawberries. Bet you weren't expecting this. In a pound, 15 to 20 strawberries. On average
Completely
per
off the
plant.
rails.
A healthy strawberry plant can yield about 1 to 2 pounds. So 20 to 40 strawberries. There you go. There's your random fact. I will never forget this for the rest of my life now. It's just going to be stuck in my head where people are going to be like, how many strawberries in a pint? It's going to come up on like in one of those trivia nights, and I'm going to be like, oh, I got this. 12 to 15, dog. No way is anything else. You know what? Talking on math, and this is the most ADHD movement that we could have done here. But talking on math, so I've been.
We didn't even get to the part about how ChatGPT is wrong.
Nope.
It is, but we also can get to that point
boy.
on how it can't do math. So Alex knows this. So I've been writing a bunch of, I guess you can call them like shitty apps, just because I'm kind of tired of everything in cyber costing like $1,000, $2,000 per user per license key, whatever it may be. So I just started learning how to do a lot of more visual front end coding, a little bit of back end coding. And so I started this project called Shitty Apps. Like that's really, there's a folder on my desktop called Shitty Apps, and it's a bunch of productivity apps written by me very terribly. They're called shitty apps, but they function, and I figure I'll release them for free. Or if you want me to host them, I'll host them for $5, or something like that, just to cover the initial cost. But I was trying to write a calendar for schedule, right? And it was giving me like I was trying to figure out how to build this out so I could dynamically allocate a particular bar to a date without knowing where that date was going to be in a grid because it's all being written dynamically. So I asked ChatGPT, I was like, yo, dude, how do I do this? And it gave me a mathematical equation, which was taking an index between 0 and 6, right, for 7 days, and then going, what is the start column? The start column will then equal the start column plus the amount of days that's been indexed divided by 7 should give us the row. And the problem with that is dates don't show up on the same time frame. And so when I was asking it to do the math, it would be like, oh, the answer is 4. And like quite literally it'd be 1, right? And I'd plug in a whole mathematical equation for it to go and try to figure it out, and it'd be like, nah, that's 2. And you're like, dude, what's 2 plus 2? And it's like 3. And you're like, I'm gonna lose my mind. So I spent like, I don't know, a week and a half. It must have been that long because I think I was pinging Alex on Slack like, I don't know, every other hour, just being like, what the fuck? I can't figure this out. I was so mad. I just kept getting gaslit by an AI. And I never graduated college, so I'm not good at math. So I couldn't figure out the math. Long
like
story short,
grade math. What the fuck does parentheses do?
Dude, when do you add in the parentheses? Yeah, no, it got really bad. So I eventually asked Stack Overflow, and then I posted the ChatGPT answer in the Stack Overflow as a different user and got the right answer by somebody who was very angry. So the Stack Overflow method still works, is what I'm getting at. As long as you post the wrong answer, people will get angry and respond. It's pretty great. But ChatGPT can't do math. It's horrendous. Anyways, that was my tangent for today. What are we talking about?
Well,
you
right before we started, we talked about what ChatGPT was good at, right? What are we using that for?
Oh,
as threat actors. You pulled up an article. You started to read it. We didn't make it through the first 2 sentences.
Dude, I got distracted.
But that's par. So let's hit that. Let's do that.
It's Veterans Day. I haven't taken my ADHD meds. It's like 8:30 anyways, so it wouldn't have been applicable here.
Wait, now I'm curious about how Veterans Day relates to not taking your meds.
Because you don't take them on the weekend, like Adderall and all that stuff. If you don't want to continuously increase the dosage over time because your body gets used to it, you take what's like a drug holiday. So you don't usually take them on weekends. I didn't take it on my entire. Yeah, well, I didn't work
related.
today, so.
It's
Veterans Day.
Monday.
You kidding? I'm not working.
It's Monday.
At this point, I think we just changed the title of the podcast to Idiots.
Yeah.
We have talked about nothing related.
What are we, 11 minutes in? We haven't.
I tried.
This is
Now,
why
I
we
want to
have
hear
three
about this
users.
article. Let's go. Here we go.
I mean, I truthfully haven't read the article. All I know about the article is what you had mentioned that OpenAI released a new threat intel report on the influence and cyber operations as an update. They have a nice little PDF that's 54 pages that I've found from Googling, and it looks like it could be quite interesting to dig deeper into. Though a large portion of it does seem to discuss AI in its use case of influence operations. So basically what we've been kind of calling out.
Send that to me. I want to see it.
Yeah, threat actors were observed using ChatGPT and other tools to scope out attack surface, debug malware, and create spear phishing content. OpenAI says it disrupted 20 plus foreign influence networks in the past year.
Dude, I mean, this is basically what we've been telling people, though, right? It's not necessarily building any malware, right? I think the big call out there and what probably people will misunderstand is the debugging malware, right? Like ChatGPT is really good at when you ask it to go, hey, can you explain to me why something isn't working or why I may be getting this? It'll explain it pretty well. Especially if you ask it to talk to you in uwu characters, then the rubber ducky method works phenomenally. And then you just have a character going, uwu, when the function here doesn't call the other function. I get really bored. Don't judge me. But it's very far from being able to actually like program anything malicious, in my opinion. I don't know. Do you guys use it pretty often? I use it pretty heavily throughout the workday, just in general, to get a general idea of information. But
I feel like I use it more. I don't want to say it's become my replacement. I will for Reddit. Like, it's become my replacement for Reddit because I used to go to Reddit to learn something new or to read about whatever's the news for the day. But now, if I go to Reddit, I just don't want to read something. I have ChatGPT summarize it, or if I do want to learn something about it, I'll ask ChatGPT to explain it in excruciating detail, and it'll give me like very, very specific information about whatever I want to learn. So I find it more useful for that than anything else right now.
It's one of those learning tools where I think that if you understand how to coax the information out of it, it can give you a lot of good information. But I think the dependency on it has made it a little bit of a difficulty as well, where it hallucinates a lot, as we've joked for the last 10 minutes. And it's kind of interesting to think about like how that could potentially play its role in misinformation beyond threat actor intervention, right? I know a lot of times when we look at the AI models being used for like Russian spear phishing or Iranian spear phishing campaigns, like the way that we're finding that they're malicious is not necessarily because there's poor English in there. It's probably because it's a little too proper. And then it'll also tell you things in an email body where you're like, no one would ever know that. Like, oh, by the way, your dog is missing. You're like, why did you write that? Like, it's one of those refrigerator jokes. But there's a mention in this report that I wanted to chat with you guys about. Have any of you guys heard of like a hoax that happened back in June using a Russian account and GPT-4o when it was still very early beta? I don't know,
Not that I recall.
I was kind of reading through this, and it seems like a very interesting attack vector, essentially stating some very convincing items coming out of the models. Like this actor was trying to, in quote, expose a controversy with GPT-4o on Twitter. And OpenAI was like, this ain't real. And they were able to determine it wasn't real. They won't disclose how they were able to discover it. But it does look kind of interesting in the sense that that now misinformation around the models that we use is becoming called into question, and maybe something of interest as we kind of work through the next couple years, right? Of AI really going to change the environment. Like, how much of the information can we truly trust coming out around models like Claude or GPT or whatever the one for Facebook is, right? Like, these things are constantly changing, and I feel like if we can create influence to direct individuals to different models, could that be a potential risk factor? Right? Like, if you come out and you're like, I built like this new LLM, or this massive LLM with X percentage as being the benchmarks, and they're phenomenal benchmarks, but in reality, that language model collects more information maliciously than it does support you, I guess is really where I'm trying to get out. As AI as a threat vector instead of AI creating the threats based on what we tell it to do. Does that make sense? I don't know. Rod could edit this later.
So it's like a fish, essentially, a watering hole. You put up a good LLM essentially, and then just convince people to use it.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, we hear of times where, at least in the security world, of like, what do they call it? The condition poisoning, right? Or the training poisoning, where you can poison the training data and have it return different data. But I'm curious if you could use LLMs to inform other items. So, the browser, for example, is a phenomenal attack vector if it wasn't so secured by Chromium and all those other fun jazz. And we see a lot of people attack Google Chrome for a reason, right? Because it has a lot of access to the underlying OS. And legitimate programs still have access to be able to go out and touch those items, right? Like, I was telling Ross this at my wedding. Like, I was screwing about with malicious browser plugins, and I built like a straight up keylogger, and submitted it. All I had to do was pay $20, submitted it to the store, and they accepted it automatically, which was kind of funny because now I have a keylogger that I had to go and delete because I'm like, I don't feel comfortable actually putting this out there. But there's a lot of that ability from the browser to attack a host. Like, could we start to see the implementation of LLM models start to integrate closer into the browser to be an attack vector? Thought experiment for you guys.
Are there even? I'm checking to see if there's even a ChatGPT Chrome extension.
I mean, isn't there the ChatGPT search now?
Yeah, but that's not an in-browser, is it?
I don't know. Yeah,
there's
it's a Chrome extension. Yeah.
ChatGPT search. Interesting. I'm going to download that.
Hey, wouldn't this be really interesting and dangerous? Want.
What is this? ChatGPTs with a weird accent mark over it? That seems...
ChatGPT? Oh, it's the French version.
It's French, yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, it says here in this report that a lot of the threat actors use ChatGPT just for like language writing, for like convincing backstories and like filling out like fake websites to make like, because their English is not their first language.
The only thing I can remember actually using it for in the last 8 months was like I didn't have the mental bandwidth to write one sentence in passive voice for a report, and I was like, hey, fix this. And like that was it. That was the only time I've used it, and it did a decent job, but I was like, hey, get it together for me because I can't. And that was the only time I've actually used it in months.
Oh, you're better than me. It probably knows so much about my anger issues. It's like,
have you looked at what it knows about you? That's all.
Oh no, but I know that you had done something.
Yeah, I mean, you
Ross,
can just
Ross.
you can ask what is it? What do you know about me? Or if you have like the mobile app, you can go to personalization and see everything it knows about you. Well, everything that it claims to know.
It knows that 8 months ago I couldn't figure out how to write a sentence, and that's about it. How about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, well, it says that Ross is the owner and butcher at Left Bank Butchery. So I don't know if it's necessarily true, but
Yeah, but if
yeah.
you put my name and my city, it tells you what's up. I've started using it for some very, very entry level OSINT. Like if I just want to see if I have a city and a name, usually it can provide something interesting.
I mean, it is really good with large data sets, right? So, like, I figure if you could feed it in maybe some of the APIs from PIPL or That's Them or any of the other OSINT tools, it could probably be pretty phenomenal at discovering individuals on OSINT. No?
Mm-hmm.
It said here that the Iranians used it for password spraying, that they fed in common default username and passwords for programmable logic controllers, which are used to operate with machinery or other critical infrastructure.
See, I mean, there are some smart ways to use AI for sure. I mean, unless you're Trend Micro and then they say they write a polymorphic Python malware that evades detection, and you're like, you're not saying much, Trend Micro. Like, bro, we've all seen your engine. It's pretty bad. All right, well, we've talked AI a lot on this podcast. Let's talk something more fun. Rod sent something over, which I'm sure makes Alex blood boil almost every single time I mention it.
There goes the Trend Micro.
Yeah, I just read that shit. Rod just puts it in. Well, there goes the Trend Micro sponsor. Well, Trend Micro, if you're planning on sponsoring, I'll still take your money.
We've already lost the wedding industry, please.
Yeah. Well, we don't need the wedding industry. That needs to go, just like cyber. But anyways, the fun stuff of the day, Copilot Recall. Alex's favorite tool to use on Windows 11 preview has been delayed till December.
This is still AI, no? Good. I thought we were moving on from AI.
Shit. Yeah, it is. But it's a little bit different because it's force-fed AI, right? Like, I feel like with Claude or GPT, you can't get force-fed it. You have to be like, all right, I want to go use it, right? You got to go log in. Windows is forcing you to use Recall, and it'll eventually come. It was supposed to be this month, and they pushed it back. Actually, I think it was supposed to be last month, and they pushed it back then. Then they said this month, and now they're pushing it back to December. And it's all over privacy concerns. Now, I know Alex is aware of it. Bobby, it sounded like you weren't too aware of the platform, or?
No, I haven't owned a Windows machine since like 2000, so.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Push them glasses up, nerd.
See ya.
Well, there goes the Bobby sponsor. Man, I'm just burning bridges today.
All the glasses companies.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think what's really funny is there's a lot of like really big issues with just how the security system has been put into place to try to secure Recall, because you're supposed to be able to block from a threat actor's perspective, right? You're not supposed to be able to get to Recall's folder where it stores all the images, or you shouldn't be able to message it about a different user on the host. But from all the research that those who've gotten their hands on this, it has been phenomenally hilarious. Like, Microsoft has said that they don't care about the security layer between local and local user and local admin. They don't consider that like a major security layer, so a lot of stuff doesn't get patched in that regard.
So it records your browsing history?
Yeah, it records everything.
If it's on the screen, just imagine every 10 seconds it hits fucking F12.
Oh, even if it's
screening.
The best part out, even if it's not on the screen. So passwords, right? The secure string. So in Windows, there's at least in WPF, there's like a secure string functionality, right? So that you don't see it on the screen. It's supposed to encrypt it at rest and all that jazz. It still records it. So you type in your password and you get it to be like, hey, man, do you remember my password for this application? It'll be like, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, I got
like,
you.
Here's your pass. Oh, yeah.
And then it'll display it on the screen for you so you can type it out or copy it, at which point it will also take a screenshot of it.
Images, videos, messages, emails. Jeez.
Everything. Yeah, we thought browsers were overly permissive. Recall has access to everything, including when you go to the toilet, what kind of nasty things you've been watching in those private browsers. Dude, Pornhub's like gonna see the most vanilla like selections ever. Like no one's gonna want to admit it. You know, it's like in the military or in the government we have lifestyle polys, right? So lifestyle poly, now recall is gonna be your lifestyle poly. It's gonna be like, oh dude, you watched that one porn with the horse in it, didn't you? Fucking disappointed.
You don't know my life. Get out of here.
I don't know. Ross, have you seen anything about it?
I haven't. I've heard a few things, but nothing more than what you've already said.
Man, how am I the only one who's fucking finding things? What have you nerds been up to?
I was out hunting today. Fight me.
Ask Recall.
Yeah, ask Recall. Fair enough.
Driving to weddings is what I've been up to.
Yeah, you did drive pretty far. Bobby flew though, so there's no excuse here. Are you not doing anything cool in your job?
Doing a lot of cool stuff. I just can't talk about it.
Man, this feels really weird being on the other side of that fence.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a cool transition. I really like what I'm doing. I just can't talk about it a whole lot.
Ross works for one of the biggest and bestest AV systems out there. So, I don't know if we announced it last time that you took a new job.
I don't remember if I did.
I don't know.
If you go to my LinkedIn or like anywhere, you'll see I work at CrowdStrike now. It's not like
we don't have to keep playing this game.
Yeah, there we go. Right? Boom. Easy peasy. Bobby still works at Amazon, though. So
he's
the only one who hasn't changed. What's up with that, dude? Like, everyone else made major changes. Why didn't you make any major changes?
Never spent longer than 2 years at a job, so I just hit my 2-year anniversary. So we're going to try and keep that train rolling.
I hate that word, Bobby. I want to punch that word in the mouth. That was vile.
I said it on purpose.
Where
it's gross.
If you had to move somewhere, where would you go?
Probably
where would be the hotness? Where would be the hot spot for all of our wannabe criminals out there?
Probably like an airline. I love like flying and aviation and stuff. I feel like hacking planes would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Alex.
Would you work for Delta and like go down for like 3 days, 4 days?
As long as I get like free miles, like I'll work anywhere, any of the airlines. Whatever has like the best flying perks, that seems like a pretty good gig. So I like to travel, so I feel like that'd be solid.
All right, you hear that, Delta? We want that sponsorship money.
I've been saying that I want to work
for next episode, like, Bobby works company. For Spirit.
The gang files for bankruptcy.
I've been saying I want to work for a space company. That's like my end game. If they had miles at a space company where I could just like travel to the moon as often as I want, I'd be all about that.
Dude, I'd be into that.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. I'd still like drop dead to work for OpenAI for their frontier models because it just seems like such a cool job. But I've been barred from applying there anymore. I've applied too many times, apparently.
I see NVIDIA jobs posted all the time, and it's like those salaries look ridiculous.
Dude, they don't hire. NVIDIA is a fallacy. It's gotta be a fallacy. There's no way they hire. I've not seen one of those jobs actually go through. I have like 16 applications in their like workday, and all of them are still saying pending. So
Workday
That's
is
a
not
good
real.
sign, though.
It just feeds into recall.
Rico, I'll pick my best candidate.
Yeah.
No, sitting in pending's good though, because I got a hard get out of my face rejection letter in like 2 weeks. So
God, I wish.
that's good.
No.
I
Because it
applied
just
for
means
something
no
that I
one's looked at it.
honestly was not qualified for, but I was like, for $250 a year, I'll apply. And boop, let's go.
Dude, I applied
saw-
to be a junior pen tester. I was like, fuck it.
Oh,
Dude, they were paying him $275 junior, like. Yeah,
I saw a
I'm
Netflix L4 protocol security engineer, which is like, I don't know, like a senior principal level, I guess, but the range was 100 to 700.
That's the other one that I see a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
wild.
disingenuous.
But you got to be 5 days SF,
What does that even mean?
like 5 days a week in office in San
Oh,
Francisco.
I thought SF
Oh.
was an acronym, and I was like,
Yeah, we have a different version of
Special
what I said.
forces.
Yeah.
security forces.
I gotta go 18 series?
Yeah.
Do you guys think? So I know a lot of. We talked last time, or at least one of the more recent ones, about that. No, before they hired that Korean threat actor or North Korean threat
Yeah.
actor. Do you think threat actors like that are going to push the narrative for return to office?
Dude, 100%.
Have you seen that play out at all?
Bro, I've seen the return to office situation causing a lot of security issues. So like earlier this year, North Korea was also caught plugging USB drives into tractors in Germany. Like they were physically going to a factory and just walking up to the tractor and going boop boop and then walked away.
Is that what it sounded like when they did it?
Yeah, because it's like
Tractors
unlike
make
John
lots of
Deere.
noise, yeah.
John Deere has the eagle scream. Germans are a little bit more, practical. So just boop, boop. That's how you know it's done. But yeah, no, they like the return to office situations have been just criminal heaven because no one knows who their coworkers are. No one. I mean, most of us didn't know who our coworkers were, regardless, because most of us are introverted nerds.
But isn't it riskier to be remote? Like as much as I love the remote first cultures, isn't it riskier being remote when if you're not video on? I don't know. I feel like that's a much higher risk, and I'm not advocating for return to office. But if I was a company owner and I was weighing out the risks of having people remote or in person, I feel like the risk would be lower having them in person from a security lens.
You're not wrong, right? But even so, I think a larger issue comes from the architectural design or the network from the get-go, right? Like, Bobby, you can correct us if we're wrong here, but like on the cloud side, right? It's built with this zero trust in mind from the get-go. So like if you implement your entire network architecture around that, it's a lot more secure than even going into the office, right? And I'm pretty sure you guys don't have like a traditional at AWS or Amazon. You guys don't have like the traditional shared network architecture, right? Through like free IPA or some sort of LDAP control. It's all cloud based.
No comment.
I was just gonna say.
All you have to do is just say it's cloud based. Like, I'm not asking you to disclose the company's secrets.
You let him talk for like 2 minutes before you just said nah.
We're gonna have to move to something else.
Well, I thought it was going somewhere else, and then he was like, "What does Amazon use?" I'm like, sorry.
I don't need you to tell us the technology. It's just like the architectural design, right? Like, because like for us, we're all cloud. I know prior we were cloud as well at Echelon.
Yeah,
but
I'm fairly certain there's minimal on-prem Exchange servers like sitting in Amazon offices. If I had to venture to guess.
Not
Yeah,
that you have any awareness. You're
Yeah,
just making an
exactly.
assumption here.
I would hope.
There
I would
goes
hope
that
there was
Amazon
zero.
sponsor.
I would hope Exchange has died on a stake with its head there for years. That is a horrible program. But like I remember at Deloitte, like we used like a hybrid environment, right? So like Deloitte was phenomenally problematic when we did the red team internally for them because it was like, oh shit, like we can just move around like no problem from any user.
I feel like David's asking and saying a lot of things that he shouldn't be saying or asking today.
I mean, there's no NDA requirement, right? Like, here's the thing: corporate loyalty is a fucking joke, and if you are loyal to a corporation, you're part of the fucking problem. There, I said my spiel.
I'm just gonna say
Get
we
Brandon
lost
Lee
our...
Mulligan in here. Let's start.
David will sell his work laptop to the highest bidder. Whoever puts in the comments.
I hope you're happy. We just lost our Deloitte sponsorship.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know if I would have taken that one to get though. I did not enjoy. I enjoyed my peeps there. I did not enjoy my time there. You know,
Trend Micro's off the list. Deloitte's off the list.
Who else should we just target?
I mean, Microsoft has been off for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Microsoft does it to themselves, though.
They hated us a while ago.
It's like Palo Alto, you know, and Horizon 3 and Palo Alto. What?
Don't worry about it.
I just saw Alex just go right into the dark and get confused. They do it to themselves. They're not. It's not like anybody else is coming along and causing issues for them. You know what I mean? It's like if AWS was like, oh, hey, guys, we're going to make backwards compatible EC2 instances. You're like, what fucking good is that going to do? Nothing other than introduce vulnerabilities. It's kind of where they go from. Anyways, this is a slow-ass episode, so pick a topic, let's chat about it, or we can clap and let people, well, the one listener that we have left.
Have you guys seen this this website, play.ht?
What is it?
It's called
No,
play.
can I play Game Boy games on it?
No, but
I don't want
it's basically a text to voice generator, but it has like, I don't know, 100 free AI voices, and you can also train it for free on like a YouTube MP3 of your choice.
Dangerous.
So I was thinking this week, like, you know, we filmed this podcast and there's like hours and hours of footage on YouTube. Like, I could easily just go download every MP3 copy of my YouTube videos and literally have like a free perfect AI clone of my voice in like 5 minutes. And I was playing around with it this week because I needed to generate like a AI like automated voicemail. So like this way it wasn't my voice. And like literally you just picked like, I don't know, the American like Jill accent, and it was like literally couldn't tell the difference from a real human.
That's
11
crazy.
Labs, another one. Check that out.
I'm imagining a world. I'm imagining a platform where you combine this with all of the text messages with a dead relative, and you put that, you train an AI model on that, and then you feed that into this service, and now you can talk. We can call it something like Lazarus. We could call it Lazarus.
There's a startup doing that where you like journal all your thoughts every day, so this way when you die, your relatives can like have you like after you're gone, so they can like continue to interact with you.
I hate that so much.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm just trying to upload my brain to a computer.
Alex is still mad.
I am. I'm mad about all of that. What I wanted to figure out while you guys were talking, though, was I heard a thing the other day that's very similar to that, where not to the part a second ago when I started typing, not when we went off the rails and you made me hate Lazarus AI again. Where there were these podcasters that basically figured out that they were AI the whole time and had like an existential crisis about it. Did you guys hear that?
Oh, I had seen that video.
Dude,
It's
and I didn't know if it was a real thing or if it was like somebody just made it and it was funny, but it looks like it's a real thing. And it's,
oh no, it's a hoax. They put the pretext in that your two podcasters realizing that your AI have a conversation.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
But you
Okay,
can
good.
actually have a podcast generate with Google's new tool. You can like paste in like a whole scientific paper, and it'll give you like a podcast interview style summary of like the science of that paper, so you can digest it more easily. So like it's not far off.
No, I don't think it's far off at all. I mean, there was a bank heist. What, 2 months? Not bank heist. I guess it was about 2-3 million that was stolen from a Taiwanese company using like 11 labs and deepfakes in a Zoom call. Like, that's pretty funny, but also kind of terrifying when you think about it. You're like, oh well, shit. Okay, here we go. Now, even if you do have cameras on, if they're like any of us four, we're just constantly staring at a screen the whole time. Like, well, there you go. It's not an
I feel like
open
people aren't
invitation.
talking about that enough. Like I don't know, like I never hear from like cybersecurity. Like there's no pen test being scheduled of like I don't know. We want like an AI voice cloning attack done via Zoom, but like to me that feels like almost I don't know one of the most interesting risks because it requires such low effort and like the payout is potentially like I don't know transfer all this money to X place or like whatever the incentive is like it's pretty like low risk high reward from like a threat actor perspective and it requires very little development time other than like I don't know the Zoom bomb potentially.
Right. I mean, we've been kind of experimenting with it at Covert Swarm, which hint hint wink wink they can pay the sponsorship.
Oh, hey.
They won't watch this video. Are you kidding? No, but
Thought you meant no, they won't though. They could. They're not gonna.
that too.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, we've been kind of experimenting with it around ourselves. And what is it? Hacker Valley Media, the podcast company. We had done 2 podcasts with them back at DEF CON, and one of our guys who runs our academy, his name's Ian. It should have been. I don't know if they got it all recorded. They did a live demo of doing AI social engineering, like real-time vishing with AI. It turned out pretty good. Now,
Which tool was that, or was it custom?
I think they were using a mix between like ChatGPT to 11 labs. I'd have to go back and I'd have to ask them. But I mean, I remember having a conversation with him at DEF CON, me granted inebriated, right? And he said it went well. So I figured that podcast is probably up there. It took a while for them to get ours out. It's now November and we recorded it back in August, but they're busy people. I would check that out. Ian's a smart cookie. I don't know his last name though. Do you know his last name, Alex?
I think it's Smart Cookie, right?
Ian Smart Cookie.
I thought it was Failer something.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Ian Jackson. Different guy.
Oh.
We do have Ian.
Well, see,
Feller.
I don't know
That's
anybody.
Elon Feller. That's our sales guy for the States.
Oh.
I'm gonna have a voice clip for each of you guys for our next episode. We're gonna play it and see how